Yes, a very beautiful morning out there, and welcome to another edition of Political Perspective on your darling station, Hyper 102.7 FM. This is a program where we examine the issues shaping our nations and how they affect our lives every day. In a rapidly changing political landscape, staying informed is the most important than ever. So from governance to public policies to security, economy, development, elections, and even what matters to the members of the public, we bring you thoughtful analyses and balanced decisions, discussions on matters that matters most. Today we should take a closer look at some key political and national issues making headlines, explore their implications, and of course consider what they mean for the future of our country. So whether you're listening from home, the office, we implore you to please stay with us as we separate fact from opinion and ask important questions that encourage meaningful conversations that contribute to the national development. My name is Florence Ibarema, and this is Political Perspective. And as always, we have in the house our in-house analyst and person of Akin Adebayo. Good morning, Akin Adebayo.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the program today.
How are you feeling this Tuesday morning?
I'm feeling just fine. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure having you in the house. And as always, so today we'll be taking a look into what the headlines are saying. And of course, we have our different faces to it. But we'll begin from this xenophobia. Nigerians are weighing on whether or not there should be a retaliatory measure because of what has been happening to Nigerians in South Africa. And it's coming from Ojuku. So what do you have to say as regards this headline that says that Nigerians weigh sanction against South Africa? Do you think that is a next line of action? Do you think there's a need for a threat in front because of how they feel Nigerians in South Africa are going through or what they're going through at the moment?
Thank you very, very much. Number one, you must understand some certain things when it comes to international diplomacy. Of course, it is normal when anything of this nature happens. The first thing introduced is diplomacy. But in a case whereby it appears that diplomacy is not working, then I think the next thing is for you to impose a sanction. How do I mean? The issue of xenophobic attack didn't just start today. Didn't start this year, last year or thereabout. It has been ongoing for some time now. And I think the Nigerian government has been gentle enough. The Nigerian government has been diplomatic. Xenophobic attack to take a different dimension on the relationship between Nigeria and the South African government. If I'm not mistaken, during the apartheid period, I know the contribution of the Nigerian government in the issue of apartheid. And we got to see that even finance and what have you, it was actually given to financial aid was given to the South African government then. During the apartheid period. But now, what is not happening? Of course, if I'm not mistaken, what the relationship of xenophobic attack is this? Now, some majority of South Africans, they are not even ready to work. And trust Nigerians, we are extremely productive whenever we are outside the shores of this country, which simply means that our government is not even doing enough in making the environment enabling for us to be more productive the way we are always productive when it comes to international communities. Because you'll be so amazed. Now, whenever you hear about any person, any African performing extraordinarily in either American or European countries, they are always Nigerian. The question now is this: why does it appear that we are not giving in the same energy that we are giving in those foreign countries in Nigeria? It's simply because of the fact that there is no enabling environment. And who is to blame for that? Of course, it's the government. Now, why are we rushing to South Africa? It's simply because there is an enabling environment over there. And trust Nigerians, they've been doing wonderfully well in business, in entrepreneur, in skills, just name it, back in South Africa. And even when it comes to the issue of job seeking and what have you, they've been doing wonderfully well. And they now started feeling threatened as in South Africans. And they raised some spurious allegation. I call it spurious because it is natural How do you expect a lady to jettison a hardworking man for a man that is jobless? A lady that knows for sure that, okay, I cannot build a future with this person. And and that's where the problem started from. They were not really complaining about the issue of job then. I think it all started with that Nigerian men were actually dating their own wives and girlfriend, and the case maybe. That was the spurious allegation raised against the Nigerian citizens there. But of course, what do you expect of a woman? Do you think that a woman will now be suffering, will now be doing all manners with you, not thinking of her future? And the very minute, even back here in Nigeria, that's why you see some women raising some terrible standard for marriage status of a thing. So it equally happens, and that was how it started. From then now, things that was not working, then I started saying that Nigeria was actually doing the work they're supposed to do. Are they qualified to do it? One, did they go there and were not given the job? Two, and when they were given the job, did they actually do it? These are questions begging for answer, and that was how the problem started. And Nigerians must leave. Do you know how many Nigerian properties that have been destroyed? Do you know how many Nigerian businesses that have been destroyed over there? And like I said, it didn't just start now. It has been ongoing for some time now. And the Nigerian government, I want to believe, for them to be threatening the issue of diplomatic, threatening them with sanction and what have you, it has gone to the stage that it can no longer, should I say, it's no longer attractive. I think diplomacy is no longer attractive. That's why they now believe that, okay, I think it is high time we impose sanctions. And the question is this: South Africans are having, if I'm not mistaken, some of the largest investment in Nigeria here. Are we disturbing them? Are we now going to campaign or to hold protests or riot in front of their establishment rather? Is it MTN, is it DSTV? Name it. Recently, it was discovered that 3 trillion is being freighted away from the Nigerian economy to South Africa without paying a tax. Do you realize that the entire messages, maybe you want to borrow money, data credit, and maybe airtime credit and what have you, a particular company is the one running it from South Africa, and to discover that over 3 trillion is being freighted out of the Nigeria economy without paying a dime of tax. Thank God. You see, like I said, and that is why we continue giving it to the guys in our economics something at the moment. If not for what is happening in the war between the US, Iran, and Israel, I want to believe that by now Nigeria economy would have been growing tremendously. Because put into perspective, the projection at which the economy was growing then, before the war broke out, you can see the way the dollar has become so stable. You can see the way the petroleum products are coming down. You can see the way things were actually picking up then, before this issue of the war between the US and Israel and Iran. So if not for the fact that maybe those by now things would have far better off, but that's how it is now. What I'm actually saying is that for those guys to have been able to discover that the money, the credits facility on airtime and data is being freighted away to a South African company in Johannesburg, it's a wonderful and yeoman job. They should be commended for that. And as the president would have it, he immediately gave licenses to about 9 other companies that should be performing or carrying out the same function, so that the money can remain in Nigeria. These are the things. Now, the issue now is this: if the federal government is not saying that they want to impose sanction, it's a welcome development. If that is the only means by which the South African government can be reasonable. And I must tell you this: do you know that for the first time, Cyril Ramaphosa, South African president, is now actually coming out publicly to condemn the attack? Something he was not doing before now. And even if he has done it, maybe it was in the past, maybe the energy he's putting into it now is far more than what he actually did in time past. I don't know how far it is, but there are ways these people go about doing their own businesses. He's a shareholder with MTN, as in the president himself. So he knows for sure that the very minute every sanction is being imposed, or maybe MTN, DSTV, and the host of others, even the chopper and whatever that's no longer functioning, the very minute every sanction, and that is the best way by which sanction can be imposed. Economic sanction is applicable, is allowed in international engagement, is allowed in international diplomacy. And I think for Nigeria to have imposed that sanction or proposing to impose the sanction, to me, is a welcome development. If that is the only means by which the South African government can spring more into action and give their citizens a kind of brain reset. And in fact, I must always say this: South African citizens, the men in particular, need orientation and reorientation. They need to be told the benefit of hard work. For crying out loud, you are having a very vibrant economy. If I'm not mistaken, South African economy is one of the largest economy in Africa. What are they doing with it? How could you, as a man, able-bodied man, are not ready to work but want to make gain some benefit? Where is it done? It's not amazing that the same guys that cannot work in their country because maybe they have the resources, let them go to the US, let them go to the UK. They will go there and they will work. So what are we talking about here? So the same thing that is applicable to them there whenever they travel to the UK is what Nigerians that don't have money to go to the UK or the US but are able to go to South Africa is what they are doing there. So let the men invest their energy more in more productive activities than them chasing shadows. But of course, I want to commend the government for them to have been threatening them with, sanctions. And of course, I can equally assure you that the government already, that the South African government already knows the kind of sanctions that the government was actually impose on them from Nigeria. So if that is the only means by which these people can have a brain reset, so be it. And that is how I call to commend the president to have redrafted Fani Kayode from the German ambassador to South African ambassador. Is a very good one, because we equally need an ambassador there that is well versed, that is well grounded with the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa from time syllabus or in a curriculum as the case may be. That the Yoruba goes the story, so that it's because so that you can call someone that you've helped to order. That is why at times you render some assistance. So that whenever that person's time is changing, you can call them. I did something for you at a particular time. So I do not expect you to be repaying me back in this manner. And I think South Africa actually needs such story. South Africa needs such history. South Africa needs such remembrance, because they actually need to be remembered. The role we played during the apartheid period.
Don't you think she coming out to say there are tendencies that there might be what's it called now? The language she used actually. Don't you think it might want to generate some kind of
It's in two ways. Number one, if you hold a sword, it can be used for attack and for defense. You understand? Now, the South Africans now, not the government as a whole, but the South African indigenous citizens, as the case may be, they have started giving Nigerians or other African countries 30, in fact, by the 30th of this month, that they should vacate South Africa. They should vacate South Africa. So, by now that Bianca, the Nigerian ambassador, has now come out now to speak against it, that okay, we are equally going to embark on a retaliatory, measures in checking this excesses or this xenophobic attack. I think now, because the South African government is doing practically nothing to check this xenophobic attack. And like I said, the South African government equally understand and knows very well the meaning of that threat, because they know that we Nigerians, we already know their business is back here. So it's a matter of calling their own citizens to order them. That look here, it's high time you stop all this. If possible, they put in place necessary security measures. There are many people that are doing legitimate businesses over there. Why are they now being threatened? It is those that are involved in illegitimate business that can be dealt with. But even at the level of dealing with them, it should be not non-state actors. They can be arrested and prosecuted if maybe you're an illegal immigrant, or probably you're into drugs or what have you, or into any criminal activities. Then you can be picked up and be called to come and answer for any offense you've committed. But you're not threatening people. You're not telling people to leave your country on the basis of them. Because to me, it's completely baseless. And if the government for some time now have not deemed it necessary to check as citizens, calling them to order, making them to understand the import of their actions, then I think if Nigeria is not coming out now, I want to believe after they might have exploited all diplomatic avenues in making this issue to stop. If Nigeria government is not saying that they want to embark on a threat measure, in fact, even imposing sanctions, to me, is a welcome development. And like I said the other time, it's possible that this recent threat might bring about kind of brain reset to the South African government, and if possible, to our citizens. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that insight. And of course, the program is still Political Perspective on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, away from xenophobic matters and now to another headline that I think is it's been long overdue because every other day on the internet we get to hear stories of how people are being trafficked and how young girls are being trafficked. Now, what we have in the news this morning is saying that we were promised jobs, not prostitution. Rescued Nigerian girls recount ordeal. Now, I am sure those very persons are not understanding or getting it for the first time that there are tendencies that once you're being taken to those countries outside Nigeria, many a 9 out of 10 is not like you'll get a better job offer. So why is that girls keep falling for this kind of scheme?
Thank you very, very much. Number one, I want to really congratulate these ladies that they are able to come back because we've had instances whereby many people have died on this illicit journey. Let me put it that way. On this illicit journey, many people actually died. So I want to congratulate them that God spared their life to come and start narrating their ordeal. But unfortunately, we've had these stories over and over again, and people are still falling victim. And that is why I want to believe that probably the awareness is not enough. That is why I want to believe that the orientation and reorientation is not enough. As I want to believe that the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, saddled with the responsibility of bringing to public knowledge about what to do or what not to do. They really need to come to that responsibility. And equally, the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation equally has the work to do in this regard. How do I mean? Most of these people that fall victim of these things, they actually add about the advert. Look, it has gone beyond. You see, the people in this illegal that are into this human trafficking, they even gone beyond maybe just seeing somebody on the streets calling them and what have you. Some will even tell you there are so many travel agencies that you hear the advert, but later on you now begin to hear that they have been taken to Cairo in Egypt, even the so-called some Middle Eastern country, maybe Jordan and what have you. What people experience over there, of course, they will give them is a genuine one, but they won't tell them the work they're going to do over there. We are in this same country when the Ukrainian government and the Russian government begin to expose, begin to expose Ukraine that we have Nigerians that are conscripted into the Ukrainian army. Do you know how many people that have died in that cause? So people are equally so majority of these so-called travel agencies, they are culpable in this act of human trafficking. It will not be explicitly stated, but impliedly. Because of course they will give you a genuine visa, they will tell you if you go to this country, that country, you have this benefit, that benefit, and what have you. But it's until when you now get there, you now discover that it's a different ball game entirely. At the service level, they are genuine. Service level, they are registered. Service level, what they are doing is a legitimate business. But on getting to the country you are promised to be taken to, that is when you will now know what you're actually falling victim for. I'm victim of. These are the things. Recently, a report came out about people that have been trafficked for organ harvesting. You can imagine. And that is why tomorrow I will continue to commend. Look, it is high time people begin to know the kind of country. That is why the Bible so much made it clear that my people perish for lack of knowledge. It is commonsensical. That is why it's good to be educated. When you're educated, you'll be able to personally gather some information about any country you so want to go to. Should I shock you? Many people falling victim of these things are illiterate. Because, like I said, I want to set an example the other time. Look at what happened in the UK. In the case of Senator Ekwe, when he took a boy there for organ harvesting. As I speak to you, the man is still cool enough in a whole senator, a deputy senate president then. He's still in the UK, cool enough there in the prison. Do you know that if he had taken this same boy to maybe any of these countries that are used to prostitution and organ harvesting, he would have done the surgery successfully well. So that is why even those that have asked that want to travel out, they need to make inquiry, have the details of what they want to go to. And of course, parents equally are culpable of this matter. Because the very minute you are thinking of a greener pasture and what have you, you see, that is why even as parents, you need to orientate and reorientate your children. That there are some no-go countries. So that's why as a parent, you need to do some research. But of course, the major culprit in this whole matter is the government. You should be sincere with ourselves. why our children moving in droves out of this country, seeking for greener pasture. Should I tell you one thing? 80% of Americans, not people that travel there, as in Americans, just like Nigerians, they don't leave American shore. You know why? Because most of the thing they so desire is already on American soil. If you see any American in American soil, they are going there for two things: either to go and for investment or for tourism. I have a brother. I spent about 20 something years in the UK. He traveled to the US. Do you realize he told me that no, there's a difference between US and the UK. These are the things. If we can go to US and adopt that presidential system of government, then I think we should be able to adopt everything that is operational there. We should be able to adopt everything that is obtainable over there, and not that we just go there and adopt their way of power, and we don't want to adopt their way of governance. I think that's what Nigeria government are doing here. You can go to a country, adopt their way of power, the way power is being used, the way power is being executed, but you cannot go there and adopt their way of governance. Why can't we just adopt that system? The way America is being governed. If really we want to continue, because our presidential system of government is tailored towards the American presidential system of government, and virtually all countries in the African continent are doing the same thing. But we are not ready to follow their way of governance, thereby having strong and formidable institutions, other than here that we have strong and formidable personalities. That's when you say personality, because you have one political power or influence or the other, you can override judgment of Supreme Court. You can override, no matter how powerful the institution is, you override it. But over there, they have strong and formidable institutions. So in summary, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that this issue of human trafficking, maybe for sex and what have you, did not just start today. But one thing led to the other. And the government really needs to... Okay, do you know that the people that are actually involved with this matter now, they may not be caught. And even if they are caught, what is the punitive measures, or should I say punishment that are going to be meted out on them? And might be some of these big wigs. Do you think if, for instance, Senator Madu was not caught, he would, if he had done it in Nigeria, even if he's caught, what would happen to him? Nothing, because he's a strong and powerful person back in Nigeria, yeah. So that is why the government really needs to equally work on the federal broadcasting, stations that are always holding adverts for these people. Because I can assure you, of course, some people still pass through the desert, through the Sahara Desert and what have you, to Libya, to what have you. But now, these people, there is one thing about the Nigerian system. The very minute you are trying to curb any illicit, maybe business action or deal, as the case may be, they will equally look for another way out. Like I said, most of these people now, they are now registered legitimately. They will take you to the military airport or Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja, and you board the plane. They will tell you that you've got very much, because everybody is now aware and conscious of the fact that going through the desert is a nice death zone. Many people are trying to avoid such thing. Hardly will you now call somebody and say that you want to travel that and you transport yourself from the people are now avoiding it, because there is enough awareness regarding that. But what about the one that is legit, that you have to board a airplane to some of these Arabian nations? Let me say it yourself. And when you get there, that's when you now get it, that begin to discover what people are passing through a lot. Hell. It means that the Nigerian government needs to do a lot, particularly when it comes to the stations that are actually hearing adverts for these people, promising them all manner of job, promising them all manner of greener pasture over there. It is when they not get there, they not begin to say a different ballgame entirely. So as long as we are equally blaming because of course there's no harm in you seeking for greener pasture, but let it be legit. You yourself do your own finding, do your research. Just don't wake up and think that okay, the next is for you to go and sell your properties and maybe want to travel that. No, it's go beyond that. And like I've always said, the very minute you start hearing anybody telling you and don't let anybody know that there is a problem. There is more than what the eyes can see. Because if really you know what you want to do, that you have been sincere about it, why would you say that you not let anybody? And we are no more in the era of you saying that it is as bad as to the extent that nobody is ready now to say that if you want to go to anywhere, lie with my name. No, people are avoiding it now because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. One of those days that say you don't want people to know where you are going to, and it's simply because we've been bastardized with this religiosity. And that maybe one witchcraft, maybe one demon will stand for you far is a lie. Anywhere you are going, tell people I'm going to this place. If you make it to the place, good. If you make it, so be it. But tell people, let people know where you are going to. If you can tell everybody, tell your relatives. At least have that confidence in somebody that you can tell. And always make sure that the person you are dealing with knows that you have told somebody about where you are going. It's another security measure. It's like you telling me now that, okay, I'm taking you to Dubai. He says, not. I will tell you, look, I will tell my friend. Though. That person said, be more careful. That because if anything happens, it's no point of call. So these are some, systematic security measures that we put in place. But when it comes to the issue of human trafficking, it didn't just start today. And I equally want to commend Abike Dabiri for a wonderful work she has been doing regarding that. At least I am well acquainted with when you stay so long in a particular department, you understand it better. Because if I'm not mistaken, she has been in that diaspora something now for years. So she now knows every nook and cranny about what's actually obtainable over there. And she's doing wonderfully well. So we need more of such moves. But most importantly, we actually need to clamp down on stations, whether radio, TV, or the case may be, media, what have you, that are always propagating this criminal element. Trafficking these our ladies for prostitution. Trafficking them, even some for illegal recruitment into various armies. Do you know how many people that we tell that, okay, you are going to maybe Israel, going there now, you recruit into Israeli army. So you will take it to Tehran, Iran, to go and start fighting war. Because we had the case in Ukraine. So what are we talking about here? But in all this, I am not saying you should not seek for greener pasture. But when it comes to seeking for greener pasture, you should be discreet about it. You should actually know what you are going into. And should be able to carry out and ask questions. If the response is not adding up, you should be able to know. Consult people that will explain better to you what you think is obtainable in this discussion. And from there, you will be saving yourself a real way, a real good, if only you can ask questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insight. And of course, the program is still Political Perspective. And we have Akin Adebayo in the building. Yes, the program is still Political Perspective, your program where we analyze what the paper is saying, giving you clearer insight on what is happening in the country today. And you're still talking about what the paper is saying. We're going to look at the Sun newspaper where we have a talk on insecurity. And this is coming from our president, who is calling for whistleblowing against terrorists. You know, we always say this, you see something, you say something. So President Bola Tinubu has challenged Nigerians to play active roles in the effort to rid the country of insecurity. In a message to the national security, to our personnel and the public on his verified X handle yesterday, he described the counterterrorism as a national responsibility and of course the duty of all Nigerians or all of us to work together. The fight against terror is not only for the military, it is a national duty, and all must support our security force by providing timely, useful information. When you see something, you say something. When you know something, you report it. Now, look at this phrase. When you see something, you say something. When you know something, you report it. We've had twists when it comes to things like this. I still saw a post yesterday where a lady was saying she was harassed by somebody. She went to report only for the person to be released behind her, and the person came back again to warn her and still attempting on her life. So she is now saying that the very people she reported for protection have not sold her out. Now, talking about when you see something, you say something. When you know something, you report it. How does this work? Knowing fully well that anything can happen.
Well, thank you very, very much. If you are talking about whistleblowing, you should look at it prospectively.
Okay.
How do I mean? In this country, I remember vividly when the act of whistleblowing was was enshrined in the Criminal Act that, okay, particularly when that's to do with fraud, many whistles were blown and nothing happened. Nobla, I've forgotten Nobla is from southern part of the country. He actually blew so many whistles then, but nothing happened. We not put that because, but that is a different case entirely. You are talking about financial malfeasance, mismanagement of fund and what have you. So that one is more, it is monetary. You must have your evidences, and the cartel behind that is it's very, very strong when it comes to money. Ministries, department, agencies in Nigeria. Blowing whistle at that level could be very, very difficult because the person you are blowing the whistle to might be the one that you even go and sell at the end of the day. We're talking about security here. Okay, if I go into security, the other one you talk about, the other time, that is personal issue. Now, I equally have similar experience. I was in my apartment when these EFCC guys came. They have surrounded the whole place. And I opened the door. I got to have it. I happen to know one of them. And I said, what's the matter? And I said, I learned you are into Yahoo. I said, Yahoo. Do I look like someone that is able to? I said, but someone that they had the information. I said, from where? And I said, the other apartment. And I smiled.
They told you
the apartment. The other apartment, and I smiled. And I said,
they are uniform. They are
no. They are not putting on uniform. They are putting on mufti. The security officer. But I know one of them very well. In fact, the person that lead the squad, I know him very well. Is an uncle. And I smiled at that person that told you that is the one that is into this stuff. And I said, I guess that's not it. Before he could get there, he has run away. Do you realize that after like 2-3 days, the guy now came around and now challenging that guy, why would you try such nonsense with me? And I said, don't be angry. You just have to say something just to escape first. And I said, please don't try such thing with me. And I said, I should not be angry. That should I believe that it was his tailor? The tailor that used to sew clothes for him actually reported him. And I asked him, how did you get such information? I said, those people that that eventually went to meet them, they settled it. And it threatened that tailor on the street. That tailor has to vacate that street. It happens. But one thing is this. When it comes to that issue, as the case may be, you yourself, you need to be ready to put in place some security measures for yourself. How do I mean? That is why, you see, technology is so much advanced that the ability for you to exploit to the best of your knowledge and understanding will go a long way in giving you the results you actually desire. Now, how do I mean? If, for instance, you want to go and make such reports, you can, if it involves you having a AI glass or an AI glass, so that you can make some recording, for you to actually know the person you reported to. And if peradventure anything leaks in what you're going to make the report about, make it known. Report to the appropriate quarters. There are so many. Look, take for example, the case you just started now. If only the lady is well informed, she can equally go and report to higher authorities. And they will still collaborate to others so that at least there can be a check. You can put out a petition. That is why I keep on saying it. It's good to have a lawyer either as a friend or than for you to just say you're having any of the security agencies as a friend. When such thing happens, all she should have done is to walk up to any law firm, lodge complaint that you just pay little because their service is not for free. But people, you see, that's what times I get amazed. People will build houses worth millions and they cannot afford to put in place CCTV to secure the house. People will build houses worth millions and they cannot afford to put in place facilities that can check maybe power outbreak or what have you. This electrical something. They finally got to put in place. The same thing is applicable here. What will it cost you? When you have such case, walk up to a lawyer. How much are you going to give a lawyer? Please put up a petition. I can assure you, if she had probably walk up to a lawyer and pay the legal service, explain to the lawyer, and the lawyer now take it to the police or what have you with the petition, all that wouldn't have happened. Even the producer would not have disclosed to that person that was reported about the person actually came to make the report. Are you getting it now? So these are the things we actually need to put in place. But most of the time, you see your life is being threatened. You now walk up to a police station to go and make reports. That should be the right thing, really. But with the way things are now, you don't do stuff like that. Go there with a petition. Go and meet a lawyer. Seek for his advice. Seek for his services. And from there, you know what to do. Particularly when your life is being threatened. So, my message to that lady now is that let her look for some little change. Walk up to a lawyer. Even if they have money, walk up. There are so many, human rights activists out there. There's one JDPs or what have you. There are so many. Go walk up to them. Explain yourself. They will see attend to you pro bono. That is rendering a legal service without money. It's called pro bono in the legal term. These are the things. So that is by the way. Now, when it comes to this issue of insecurity, this is a national tragedy. So I think the president has just said the right thing.
Okay.
And it's only a fool that will not say that doesn't want to blow whistle. But I can assure you, it will be far more easier to blow whistle in the south than blow whistle in the northeast or northwest. Let's be specific. Because when this problem started, it all started from the northeast, northwest then. They actually penetrated them through the idea of, okay, you want to introduce Sharia all over Nigeria, you want to Islamize the whole of Nigeria. And their fellow Muslims were very happy. And they accommodated them. They hated and abetted in the matter. Before it now become a monster in their hands now. It has now become a serious issue. Now they are now running. They can no longer go to farm. They can't go to school. It has now become a serious problem to them. So in summary, you don't allow evil to linger so long because it will become, in fact, even the Bible made this clear that when you cast out a demon, make sure that you continue praying, because if that demon will come back, if he doesn't know that maybe you now have Holy Ghost, if you're not going to invite 6 others, making 7. That is what is happening in northwestern Nigeria. But yeah, like you see, why do you think the president is saying the show whistleblowing? He has never come out to say this before. But when children were actually kidnapped, of course, southern Nigeria, particularly southwestern Nigeria, we've had our own fair share of this, non-state actors, illicit activities. But the issue of the one that happened in Oyo, at Orile or what have you understand, actually arose the consciousness of we Yorubas that this issue is becoming a serious issue. And look at the way people have been reacting. Do you know, the Yorubas reacted to a level that back then in Borno, that day that those children were carted away in Oyo, some children were carted away in Borno. The Borno and some NGOs then, non-governmental organizations there, now said, why is it that they are giving more attention to what happened in Oyo than what's happening in Borno? It is because of the way we actually cried out. It's because of this whistleblowing, and I think the president begins to now see the import of that whistleblowing. Because I'm telling you, everybody has been speaking against it. Both religious leaders, political leaders, name it. Even some people are even compelled to speak. Do you know that part of this, according to what we had, that has not been denied anyway, was that they should introduce, part of the demand is that they should introduce Sharia.
I was about saying that.
Do you understand?
Of course, one of the abductors, the school principal, Mrs. Rachel, actually made a video yesterday where she said they did not demand 1 billion naira. Even the Sharia law was all lies, that people are making it difficult for them to survive with the abductors. So what would you say about that news? Do you think she was made to say it, or do you think that is the real face of things?
Well, one thing is this. These people that actually held them in captivity, if you are well acquainted with terrorist activities and what have you, there's nothing that they can go to any length in achieving their aims. How do I mean? It is possible. I'm not there, so I can't sound authoritative though, because the speaker of your state of assembly was not actually announced it, that what they're demanding for, that no state can meet such demand. I want to believe that they wouldn't have concocted such stories. Of course, according to what he had, the terrorists they've been negotiating with Sheyi Makinde. So it is possible that they will now tell the government something else, this version, and what they said you want to say. Moreover, maybe she wasn't even there when the call was being made to the governor or to the speaker, as the case may be. That is what we want, this is what we demand. But so they can tell the party A something different and tell party B a different story entirely. And I can assure you, it's just a way of creating more disunity among the Yorubas. So either that was their demand or not is immaterial. What we are saying now is that the Nigerian army needs to go in there and rescue those people. So we should not. We should be less concerned about what that woman said. Of course, she said some things that they stop playing politics with it. I can assure you, it's part of what they asked her to say. So it's in two ways. It's possible they would have said that. I mean, that's not just. But I want to know one thing, that there is another way of breaking the united voice against their action.
We've been seeing a series of stories about how people now plan their own kidnap. I saw a story yesterday on the net where a woman was said to have come out to cry that her mother was kidnapped, only for after intelligence gathering and everything, it was found out. One was even still on the news this morning that she planned the kidnap herself. Even one I read this morning during paper review, also the woman also planned what's it called, a kidnap. So why or how did we move from where we were to now people now planning and seeing it as a lucrative scheme to earn money?
Well, like you already said, lucrative scheme to earn money. You see, by the time you allow, like there is saying that a stitch in time saves 9. If you don't nip it at the bud, the entire stitch will be loosed. Now, when this thing started, it started far back. Borno. Do you know the distance between Borno to this place? It started coming. We are less concerned about it. Now it is not at our doorstep. And look, the whole blame still goes to the government. By the time the government is not proactive, rather they are being responsive, it becomes a serious problem. And that is why it appears it has become a lucrative business. Simply because you can be involved in it and be successful. It is as a result of successes recorded. That is why other people are not going into it. I can assure you, before they start being caught now, we've heard of instances that some people can equally arrange themselves. And it's possible there might be a check to it. But one thing led to the other. And what led to the other is that when this whole thing started, the government was not proactive enough. The government was not responsive enough. In Nigeria, as a Nigerian, let me put it that way, you provide your own electricity either through generator or through solar panel. As a Nigerian, you provide your own road, particularly on the streets, community response. As a Nigerian, you provide your own water. As a Nigerian, you even provide your own security by employing, vigilantes and what have you. Look, we Nigerians, we are paying a steep price for being a Nigerian. So the government should equally wake up to their own responsibility. We still pay tax, we do all manners. In fact, in most cases, we pay double tax. So the government really needs to wake up to their responsibility.
So what should be done to those who perpetrate this act of planned or,
You see, that is why at times I get amazed when some governors will tell you they cannot cite death warrants. And I'm telling you for free. Anytime a government is involved in the investment of money that we used to fix road, that road was not fixed and people died on that road, you sign their own death warrant by virtue of investing that money. You are asked to buy hospital equipment, you did not do it and people died. You signed their death warrant. So what is the moral justification? That somebody was caught in the act of criminality, and this death sentence by a court of competent jurisdiction has actually passed the judgment that person should be killed, and you're saying they didn't understand death warrant. Stupidity, I'm sorry to say that. It's very simple. You see, not until we begin to make scapegoat of some people they will not have been reset. That is why I will continue to appreciate Honorable Justice Nwete for that wonderful judgment, and equally want to appreciate the lawyers that actually stood in for the issue against or massacre. 4 people are sentenced to death by hanging. A wonderful judgment. But the government needs to do more, particularly the governor of the state needs to do more. Thank God he has not had a campaign against insecurity, and I can assure you it will produce results. So those people that are kidnapping themselves, demanding for ransom, most of the time we just read it the way we just read it now. We don't know what actually ends it, but there should be a follow-up. By the time maybe 2 or 3 are sentenced to life imprisonment, look, by the time each state or the federal government begin to enact laws.
Yes, we have a caller.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Adebayo.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, this is Vero from
You're
Good
most
morning,
welcome, sir.
Mr. Guerrero. What's your contribution this morning? Real
yes,
quick,
thank you.
please.
Yes, the last, and talking about the whistleblower.
Okay.
During Buhari, yes, when he just came on board, said there will be compensation for whistleblower. So, Nigeria need to blow their whistle even without expecting any compensation because insecurity is the wind that blow no one good. But since government has promised that, you believe that till today, no single person was compensated. Even people come out with reliable information, they recover billions from the Koyi building and so on. Today, until those people come out with their identity, they need to tell government, oh, you promised this, and you are refused to perform. And you expect us people to continue to be a whistleblower. It's impossible. That's number one. Two, according to Mr. Adebayo explained that detail that Nigeria will be saying that yes, we have the powerful president, even we copy American system of government. But when it comes to governance, this is issue. And you say people say the Nigeria is the most powerful president in the world because they can do and undo. Courts can rule to break us. The president will not obey and nothing will happen. The assembly will be there as a rubber stamp to executing, nothing will happen. When it comes to the security of the people and they will refuse, they will fail willfully. So all I just want to say is that thank you, and I've just lent my voice with this very beautiful program of yours. And keep it up. God bless the high power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Guerrero, for your contribution. Oh, now, okay, our time is fast spent already. Mr. Ake, what's your pattern short on the program?
Well, my party has always been, let's all do the right thing. Thank God that the president has given us, like the one Mr. Benro said, about the discipline of Buhari era. It is finance, it is money. And like I said, when it comes to transaction of that nature, there might be some gain that will be going on. You understand? So that is very good. I want to thank the president now that at least is lending his voice on whistleblowing on insecurity. Look, this one has to do with, like, it is when you are like that you will see you can spend money. The very minute this don't set actors lays hand on someone, it's a different story entirely. So if you see something, please say something. Even the security agencies now, their consciousness is now being awoken to this issue of insecurity in the country. So indeed, if you see something, please say something, and let us endeavor to do the right thing in our various space. Thank you very much.
Yes, as we draw the curtains on today's edition of Political Perspective, we hope our discussions has provided valuable insight into the issues shaping our nations and our collective future. Democracy strives when citizens remain informed, engaged, and of course willing to contribute positively to national development. While challenges that may exist, of course, a meaningful change begins with awareness, constructive dialogue, and active participation in the democratic process. With that being said, I am saying a very big